Hello, and welcome to Brit Reviews It Also. Today, I am actually coming back with the Pretty Little Liars Summer School recap review, whatever you want to call it. So I went back and I did episode 4. So that means after this one, I will have 4 more episodes to do, and that will complete Pretty Little Liars Summer School season 2. So this one is called When a Stranger Calls Back, I believe. It's, again, episode 4. Now, it starts off picking up where they left off, where Mouse is, she was able to escape this restaurant that was set on fire by Bloody Rose. And Mouse was locked in there, so she was able to get into the vents or somehow and escape. So she ends up meeting the girls. They get there, and her boyfriend, he gets there, and they're able to go and get her away from there. So they want to find out what the heck is going on. Mind you, she was supposed to have a whole birthday party, right? So that didn't happen. She didn't get to enjoy it. Her sweet 16, by the way. So they go to this, the pizzeria place where that's their normal hangout spot. So they go there, they sit down, talk, try to get, information out of Mouse about what the heck is going on. So she's just basically like, okay, so I was dropped out there by my grandma. I go in, there's the note, she repeated what the note said, basically saying it was a test and literally told them verbatim what it said. And she was like, I saw her. I saw Bloody Rose. She is real. This is not a joke. And so you can see on the girls' faces, they're all freaking out, right? I totally understand why. So they're all just like, okay, so this is really happening again. We know one thing. It could either be somebody dressed like Bloody Rose, some idiot dressed up like them, or it could be Bloody Rose herself. So that's 2 things. So it was like, this is a lot. Like, we need to call Dr. Sullivan. We need to talk to her, like, because I don't know what to do from here. So they call. Imogen calls Dr. Sullivan, but there's no answer, even though it was really late. So no answer. Understandable. She left the message. So I was like, she'll get back to them, right? So, that's what happens. So they just like, okay, we just gonna have to just be really careful. Remember to not answer any phone calls that say anything about an unknown caller. Don't answer the phone. Do not engage. Just be quiet. So Imogen is like, I'll follow up with what's going on with Dr. Sullivan. I'll get back to y'all and let y'all know what I find out. Mouse, she's like, she goes home and she's like questioning her grandma, like, okay, so who did you talk to? Like, who asked you to take me to this place? And her grandma's looking there, looking lost, and she basically says, a person named Rose told me to take you to this place. And she said, and she, as she told her, Rose said that she was calling from the other side. So somebody is really playing games, and that really freaks Mouse out. She's using the Spooky Spaghetti website to really do her research and just find out stuff that they need to know. So, excuse me. So Mouse is like, okay, so this is the update that she's gonna go and take back to the girls and let them know. Now they all come to the conclusion at the end of all these updates that they need to find Bloody Rose. And if any place is going to help them figure out where she is, it's going to be on the website. Mind you, Mouse was already feeling really bad because she felt like, this is all because of me. I'm the one who went on the Spooky Spaghetti website, and I was giving out details. Only a person who would have seen Archie Rose's mask in person would know only those type of details. So it's like she feels like it started the trail of where all of this is leading up to, and the girls is like, no, you are not going to take responsibility for that. No, ma'am. We're going to do the best we can. We're going to look out for ourselves, look out for each other. Let's be cautious. And of course, Farron is like, I could take this B damn. Well, she didn't say the B word, but she was essentially saying, I'll be the okay, if she try to come for me or any of y'all. anybody that she cared about. So, it is what it is. Anyway, moving on. So at the end of this, again, the girls are in agreement. They are not answering any unknown phone calls. They are not answering. Even though, as you keep watching, they continuously keep answering unknown phone calls. Just saying. Now, speaking of unknown phone caller, glad Tabby actually did answer because it was something good. She was actually getting a call from one of the film festival type thingies or whatever, letting her know that someone had to pull out and that they wanted to reconsider her, but she needed to submit something new. So they gave her 2 days to come up with a new short film to submit to them. And she's just like, crap, like this is this is an awesome opportunity, but can I pull it off? And of course, Christian, he's the cheerleader for her. And, he really kind of gives her that boost to really go ahead and go through with it. So we have that, which means she's going to want to pull the girls in to help her get this done. And also Christian has, of course, stated that he's more than willing to help with whatever she needs all the way. So there's that. Let me see. So Imogen, she did get an update. She got a call from Dr. Sullivan's office stating that Dr. Sullivan had an accident. And, she would have to get back to them. And of course, they're not going to give out any details. So Imogen's like, I'm going to do my research and I'm going to find out where Dr. Sullivan is. And she did. Dr. Sullivan was actually in the hospital. Imogen found a way to sneak in by saying that she was her daughter visiting her and to get some details. So Dr. Sullivan is saying she doesn't know who pushed her, but somebody pushed her as she was leaving her office. And that is how she messed up her leg. She was like, I'm going to be okay. But, this could have been anybody doing this to me. So there's that. So, of course, they're all freaking out again because they're like, okay, here we go. History repeating itself. We're reaching out to somebody for help to discuss what's going on. And that could have been Bloody Rose possibly doing something to try to get rid of Dr. Sullivan because they don't want them talking to anybody. That's a retaliation for them speaking to someone about what's going on. So there's that. Now, while Imogen has been hanging out with Dr. Sullivan, just kind of talking to her and, just checking in on her, she gets a call from Estelle's. That's her name, Estelle? I believe that's her name. But it is the adopted parents of her baby girl saying it's an emergency. We really needed somebody that we know is going to love and care for our daughter while we have to go do what we got to do. And they asked Imogen to come and babysit. Of course, Imogen's right on it. She's gone. So she just goes over there. Mind you, these people are doing well for themselves. They have a nice big house. And of course, when at night, guess what? This big old house is creepy as heck. So she's there, just her and Estelle. And she gets a call from Mr. Winters saying that, hey, not trying to freak you out, but the alarm system went off saying that a window is open. And so, of course, that triggers Imogen and me too. And she's just like, okay. She's like, you know what? I'm going to go check it out. He's like, it could have been just the wind setting off the sensor, but whatever. And she's like, I'm going to go check it out and I'll call you, with an update if anything's going on. So before she goes to go check on the window, she calls Johnny and is like, hey, could you please come over here? Like, if you're not busy, can you come over here like now? And he was nice enough to say, yeah, sure, I'll come through. I ain't doing nothing. No way. You kind of messed up my little game that I had going in town. So I am very free. So he says he's on the way. Now, while he says he's on the way, she gets a knife. So she gets a knife for protection, of course. Going up the stairs, go to Estelle's room. So she goes up there, checks on the baby. Baby's doing okay. Notices that the window, it actually is open. Wasn't open all the way. It was just kind of cracked like about this much. So she closes it, grabs the baby, grabs her knife, heads back downstairs. And so this girl is walking around the house freaked out, which I do not blame her. This is a big house. And you just called her and said that. And she knows of Bloody Rose is going around town. There's news of Bloody Rose and something just happened to Mouse. So she's freaking out. So she hears the knock on the door. Da, 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 knock, whatever. Now, this is what kind of threw me off, because the knock, it did freak her out because it just kind of triggered her. And so as the door is twisting and it's opening, it was Johnny. And I'm like, okay, well, reel that back, because Imogen, that door was unlocked. I'm going to just leave that right there. I'm not going to say anything else. The door was already unlocked. He opened it. She did not unlock that door. And when he did open it, she was standing there freaking out, like trembling with the knife, holding the baby. And he's like, yeah, I don't mean to offend you, but are you having a full on, are you having a moment? And she's like, yes. And he was like, okay, so I'm going to get the knife from you, and I'm going to get the baby from you. We good with that? She's like, yes. And so he does that. Thank God for Johnny. And just kind of lets her have a minute to just kind of calm herself down. So, she gets herself together, and, she comes back in. She's like, where's the baby? He's like, Stella's in her bed. She's back asleep. She's in her bed. They sit down, and she just kind of hints at a few things, but she doesn't go into full detail. And just thanks him, for coming or whatever. And just basically like, anybody else would have just probably ran for the hills. If a girl would have came to them with all of this going on, and he's like, yeah, I actually can appreciate you being very forthcoming and not hiding things from me when I first met you. But she gets a call. It's Mr. Winters, and he's like, yeah, okay, so the ring camera definitely picked up a male walking into the house, and we're going to have to say goodnight to him, okay? See you, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. She's like, all right. So he's like, okay, I'm going to leave out of the house out of respect for their home, but I will stay outside in my car. When you're done, I'll be here for whatever, which was really sweet of him. Mind you, when she woke up the next day to leave, he was still outside in his car waiting on her. And they had a moment and they kissed. And I'm like, okay, he didn't have morning breath. I'm just going to leave that right there. I'm not going to say anything else. Anyway, moving on. Now, let's go over to Miss Farron. So she, wanted to have a little night with Henry, where she's supposed to be teaching him how to swim, but we all know that was not going to be happening. Now, mind you, even at this time, Kelly and I can't think of his name right now, but Kelly and the dude that she be messing with on and off, they popped up at the same time. Like, yeah, apparently we all had the same idea. And they're like, look, y'all ain't gotta leave. Come on, get in the water. It's cool. Now, while the girls are talking, Farron and Kelly, the guys over there chit-chatting, whatever, talking about swimming, Kelly tells her that Henry has been struggling with the fact that she lied to him about the whole not being able to dance thing. And, he shared that with the church group. And so Farron is like, really? Didn't know I was really, it was really that bad. But, he didn't share that with Farron at all. He hasn't said anything. So there's that. Now, she still hasn't said anything to him about it. So I believe it is gonna come up, but not until the next episode, because it did not come up in this episode where she confronts Henry about that. Now, moving away from Farron, I'll come back to her. Getting back over to Mouse. Mouse, she gets the info that she was looking for from the Spooky Spaghetti website about, trying to find, has anyone seen Rose Waters around around town? And people were commenting, giving places that they said that that she was sighted. And so she's like, with her boyfriend, ready to look into all these different places, and he's down for it because he knows her and he knows she's gonna go do it with or without him. So he's like, okay, come on, let's go do this. Now, just want to be clear that this situation where Kelly and her mom being overly religious, this girl done basically, when Kelly came home from the swimming pool, she done went off on Kelly, calling her a sinner, and and basically locked her away into the prayer closet all overnight. And then when Kelly woke up, she was able to come out. The door was open. She could come out. And, her mom's just sitting there looking crazy. But to me, I feel like Kelly should have went off on her mom, because I didn't say it, but when Kelly went to the church and she went in, nobody was there. It was just the pastor, and it was her mom, and she saw them flirting with each other, and they went into the same door of the prayer room, the closet thing. They went in there together. So she's like, yeah, she's such a freaking hypocrite. And Kelly, you should have said something to your mama about that. Like, don't judge me, boo, because you're just as much sinning as I am. Moving on. Now, let's see, Tabby, she, they did complete the film, so they're in the process of editing, and she's just really is really dealing with just having flashbacks, and this has really triggered her tremendously. So she was actually able to discuss that with Christian, and he really just talked to her through it. And Christian, we like Christian, okay? We like him, so he's pretty cool. Now, clap, clap, claps, because Tabby and Christian, they end up making out. Now, they supposed to be on the clock at work, but they was making out, okay? Now, we like that Tabby found somebody that she really likes. Okay. Let's get on over to little Miss Noah. Noah has been irking my nerve this entire season. She gets a call from it was an unknown call, and she answered it. She shouldn't have. But it actually happened to be Jen calling from jail. So this girl has been arrested. Now, we know that they had a conversation while they were at her dad's house, which I was still questioning that. But it must have been true. It must have really been Jen's dad's home, which was a really nice house, and it was decked out with a lot of things. So they decided to, and Noah made the suggestion to take one of his Rolex watches to sell in order to get the money to put Jen's mom in rehab. Now, Jen gets arrested apparently while she was going back to the house to get some clothes or whatever. So her dad had her locked up. So she calls her. And I would have been like, well, boo, you calling me for what? I ain't got it. Why you calling me? Look like you're going to have to sit that out until they let you go. But in true Noah style, she talks to her boyfriend and gives him this sob story and tells him, oh, it's 2K to bail her out. And he's like, ooh, 10K. But then he was like, okay, she's important to you. Let's go on and get her out. I was like, how dare you, Noah? You are trash for that. Very trashy. And you lied about why the girl got arrested. You didn't tell him that she stole one of her dad's Rolexes. You ain't tell him that. Now, after this girl, she gets bailed out of jail by the money that she asked her to borrow from her boyfriend. This girl sitting at her house, Noah and Jen, they at the house talking or whatever. Noah and Jen end up making out. How disrespectful. Very trashy. Noah, I'm not feeling her on this particular season. I don't think I really cared for her in the first season. I definitely don't care for her now. She trash for that. But yeah, so just keep that, because as we go along with this season, it's gonna be more to come with this Noah and Jen, and I couldn't stand it not one bit. Every time I seen it, it was irritating me. Now, Barry, this girl, she ain't scared of nothing, right? So she gets a phone call. She answers it. You ain't supposed to be answering. This phone call ended up actually being Bloody Rose this time, calling for Farron. So Farron's like, okay, cool. Where you want me to meet you? I'm with it. So she goes, pulls up to this area, and I'm like, Rue, you went by yourself. That was the first thing. Absolutely not. First of all, you went. You shouldn't have. But she went, had this whole little thing set up. So it was a timer set that, and it was this big old thing that Farron would have to hold on her shoulder. She would have to hold it for 2 hours. 2 hours. And so she basically, if she dropped it, somebody that she loved would get hurt. Now, while all of this is going on and Farron is doing this, right? She's doing this thing. Mouse, she ends up calling Imogen and saying, hey, I think I know where we can find her. And she's like, okay, stay where you are. I'm going to get, Imogen's like, stay where you are. I'm going to get the other girls. We all going to come. So they all show up. Of course, they can't get in touch with Farron because Farron had to put her phone down in order to do this challenge that has been given to her by Bloody Rose. So, but the other girls, they go, they meet up, and they get to searching. They actually do find Rose, but they freak her out when they get to talking about her son, Archie. This girl, Rose, this lady Rose, takes off running and jumps off the goddamn bridge. Now, there was nobody found, so we cannot say that she unalived herself. We cannot say that. But Mouse was like, okay, I'm going to get some answers. I ain't get the answers from Rose herself. I'm going to go get some answers. So she goes and goes back to where Rose and all her things are. And they start going through her stuff. They find her profile, her folder from, looks like a doctor's office, her record or whatever. And they go through the stuff and they see that somebody that was her psychiatrist, it was Dr. Sullivan. Dr. Sullivan's name is listed. So that's like a, Dr. Sullivan. Now we got a question mark by your name. Now, all of this is going on. And mind you, Farron, she actually is still doing the thing, but she completes it for the 2 hours. And she is in pain, okay? But she's like, great, I got it. I'm about to go do, she's gathering her things to get ready to go. She's trying to catch her breath, get her strength so she can get up out of there. And here comes Bloody Rose coming from around the corner. And Farron is like, you have got to be freaking kidding me. And so Farron's like, okay, it is finna be what it is. We finna go for it. So they get into a little tussle. Bloody Rose is actually stronger than what you would think she is. And she's supposed to be some like this old beat up, messed up old lady. So Farron get to fighting. She get her down on the ground. She's able to, she hits the Bloody Rose in the back with a big old rock. Bloody Rose still gets back up and was still able to grab Farron's arm long enough to cut her. And then Farron, she's like, what the frick? So Farron is like, oh, heck no. She bolted out of there. And the only way she can get out, because the gate was locked, she had to climb up the gate and crawl over it to get out. And when she got over it just in time for her and Rose to be face to face like this at the gate. And then she takes off running. I'm like, all right, Farron. That was the real close one. So you know now that, honey, you're going to have to come a little bit harder than that if you're going to be trying to go up against Bloody Rose, because that lady ain't no punk either. If you could hit her in the back with a whole rock and she still pop right back up, psycho. Okay, but yes, so that was episode 4. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I will continue to finish this series. I can't wait for more different shows that I'm going to do, especially with the Halloween season coming up. I cannot wait. And thank you for watching again, and I will be back with more videos. Bye.